275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Colter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. Nuanez Now. Well, 2.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Fun one planned for you today. In-state recruiting battle is always a hot topic. It's a fun talk radio topic. It's also raging right now, I would say, at a higher level than I've maybe ever seen it for this early in the year. Right now, there's currently 8 players in the state of Montana. These are high school players that are committed to either the Cats or the Grizz. It's only April 14th. You very rarely get any commitments before May, usually, in the recruiting cycle. I think it's a symptom of a couple different things. I also think this year the state of Montana has some really good prospects in it. I think there's a definitive, distinct reason why that's the case as well. So we're going to go through who's committed where, what their strengths are, what does it mean for each of the two respective programs, and the ultimate question, which is always the ultimate question, who's winning? We'll also touch base on some of the kids that are from Montana that were pursuing college opportunities elsewhere that are now on the move. And that's all just in the first segment. We're also going to have our latest Treasure State Stars, highlighting some of the best individual storylines from around the state of Montana. We're also going to keep talking Masters. I have a couple more things to say about Rory McIlroy going back-to-back. We're also going to dive into some tennis. It's rivalry weekend in Bozeman. Montana State hosts Montana. So Grizz Tennis, they swung by the studio earlier today. Jason Brown and Matt Upton from Grizz Tennis were in studio with us. So we'll preview the rivalry. We'll recap the season to this point. The Grizz are locked in as the 2 seed for the Big Sky Conference tournament. Can they make it back-to-back trips to the NCAA tournament? We shall see. And then we talked heavily, prevalently about Grizz football yesterday, and we will again tomorrow. So today, take a step outside of that, talk some Bobcat football. Brett Vigen, head coach of Montana State, will join us. That's coming up about 5:30. Also, NBA play-in playoff games begin this evening, so we'll touch on those as well. There's 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow, so we'll give you a sort of the lay of the land when it comes to the upcoming schedule. The Hornets were really good to get into this position, and they've been pretty bad lately, but they still host the Heat tonight. Then the Phoenix Suns host the Portland Trailblazers. Blazers have sort of quietly become one of the most fun teams to watch. Phoenix was a train wreck that then became, like in the scope of the last couple of years, they were in the finals, then they became a train wreck, and now they're sort of sneaky on the rebound, on the rebuild, despite a lot of the controversy that haunted them off the court, and they're in the position now to maybe punch a playoff ticket tonight with the Blazers in town. Then tomorrow you got Philadelphia hosting Orlando, and you got the Clippers hosting the Warriors. And then on Saturday, full-fledged playoffs begin. So very much looking forward to that as well. Toronto plays Cleveland in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Minnesota plays Denver. That should be a heck of a series. Atlanta plays the Knicks, and Houston, the Rockets, play the Lakers. So more NBA coming your way here towards the end of the second hour here on Nuanez Now. You want to stream the show? You always can. 1029ESPN.com. You can also always use the ESPN MT app. You can also always use Facebook and Twitch. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call it, text it, let us know. And no matter how you're tuning in, we appreciate you for being here, and please let us know what you want us to talk about. Remember that, too, because we got some free Taglieri for you. Tag Tuesday every Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. So if you want to be involved in that, I'll prompt you. But that's coming up about 4:45. 406-888-1029. That's the number you are going to want to remember. I'm grabbing my phone if you're watching on TV because I'm on the ESPN.com landing page, and you go to I was trying to look up our bracket challenge, do one more call to action. We're still trying to find our third place winner. First place, congratulations. You got a $500 gift card to Taglieri, or to Jewelry Design Center. $500 at Tag would be a crazy amount of Tag. $500 gift card to Jewelry Design Center. We also had a variety of other prizes in there. We had rounds at the batting cage at D-Bat. We had rounds in the golf simulator at Last Best Golf Co. We had some hobby box from Zootown Sports Cards. We had some wings from the Desperado Sports Tavern and Grill. Pretty sweet package. So congratulations to T Paget 99. You were the first place winner. We've seen you. Good job. You got it. Dutch Grizz 81, we've also seen you. Great job by you. You got a second place prize package that included a whole bunch of different gift cards and a box from Zootown Sports Cards. Zach's Picks, we ain't seen you yet. We need you. You got third overall, all by yourself. But we're a couple weeks away, or we're a couple of weeks removed, from the national championship game. So we need you to come. First of all, we need you to text us 406-888-1029 so we know who you are. But then secondly, we need you to come to Missoula Broadcast Company and pick up your prize bag. If you don't come pick it up within 30 days, we're going to have to go to the fourth place winner. And I don't have to track down the fourth place winner. I know who it is. So we'll be able to I can just text him because I know who it is. So we need you to come if you are Zach's Picks. It's a pretty sweet prize package. Got several $100s worth of prizes in there. So come see us. And as always, thanks to Jewelry Design Center for their support of us, the show, Missoula Broadcasting Company, but especially this year's bracket challenge. And they provided a $500 gift card for the grand prize winner. So appreciate Jewelry Design Center for chipping in. If you have any jewelry you could possibly want to design or imagine, anything that you could possibly dream up, they can design it for you. The artisanship, the artistic nature of what they do, second to none anywhere in the region, and that's why they are your jeweler for life. Let's dive into a recruiting segment, which is technically a Prep Extra because all these kids are still in high school. Prep Extra, probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Make the switch to Farmers State Bank, and you instantly become part of something bigger, something different, and something more. That's because Farmers State Bank is a community bank. That means local banking, local decision-making, local support for people, businesses, and communities you care about. Switch to local, switch to Farmers State Bank. So the in-state recruiting battle was a barrage for the Grizz early, and then a big swing back for the Bobcats. So here's where we're at. It's amazing the ramifications that stemmed from a picture that appeared on Twitter on January 20th. January 20th was 2 weeks removed from when Montana State won the national championship. And Brett Vegan posted a picture of himself at Big Sky High School in Missoula with Eli Kasberg and Quincy King, two of the top prep prospects in the state. A quick scroll of Twitter would show you that there was not nearly the amount of attention, and social media attention at least, given to these two young men by the Grizz at that exact moment. Well, at that exact moment, Bobby Houck was still the head coach for the University of Montana. I'm not saying that picture is why Coach Houck's not the coach of Montana anymore, but it had probably more of an influence than I think a lot of people realize. That picture caused quite a stir. And that plus a whole bunch of other factors went into, let's say it like this. that picture is not why Bobby Kennedy's the head coach at Montana, but that picture is why, after Bobby Kennedy became the head coach at Montana, that one of his top priorities, if not his top priority, has been recruiting the state of Montana, starting with the city of Missoula. That's as cut and dry as you could say it. So Kennedy goes all in on the two Missoula kids from Big Sky first. He gets Casper and he gets Quincy King. Then Sam Sermon's the next guy to commit. He's a Missoula Sentinel guy. He's a legacy guy. His father's David Sermon, played on the 1995 Grizz National Championship team. And Sermon's a Sentinel kid. So now you got the three kids from Missoula. I think those are the three kids from Missoula that have the ability to play Division I football, that are going to be seniors this next year. So maybe the McQuiston kid, the linebacker kid from Big Sky, he's maybe a guy that could be like a partial scholarship type of guy as well. So Big Sky's got some good ones for sure. But as I've said, at the same time, Bobby Kennedy deserves credit for keeping those guys from Missoula home, but also that should just be the baseline expectation for the head coach at the University of Montana. So praise, but not too much praise, because on one hand, again, you're mending fences, you're tying ties. You're also doing exactly what you should be doing. So again, credit, but not. I'm not going overboard on that. That should be a baseline job requirement for the head coach of the Grizz. Then Montana landed Cooper Pelk, which again, his father played at Montana, was on a national championship team in 2001. He plays up at Glacier High School, which has been a factory for both programs. And Grady Bennett actually played at both schools, but most prominently was a quarterback for the Grizz, the head coach for Glacier. So again, good job getting Pelk. The biggest advantage for you in getting commitments from these guys is not only do you get them, but your rival doesn't. And as we've talked about extensively, the goals for the University of Montana, they're written right there on the wall of the Champion Center. Beat your rival, win the Big Sky Conference, win the national championship, earn your degree. Well, aside from the academic goal, the three on-the-field goals have now become one goal. Because if you beat your rival, then you beat the national champion, and you're almost certainly going to be in the driver's seat to win the Big Sky Championship. So beating the Cats week in and week out on the recruiting trail has become of the utmost importance. So getting these guys is good. Not letting Montana State get them is also a big win if you're Montana. That said, you still have to get this to the finish line. You got months. You got 6 or 7, 8 months. Actually, there's actually more than 8 months, 8.5 months till signing day. That's a long time. So you never know what could happen. You never know if these guys blow up, if they get bigger offers, if they change their mind. There's so many different things. But we're just talking about the optics of what's going on right now. So again, getting Pelk is good. Getting him is worth some praise. Losing him would have been worth massive scrutiny. You avoid massive scrutiny, you got him. Then the big win for the Grizz came earlier this month, about 10 days ago, when Dylan Almquist committed. Dylan Almquist is widely considered the top recruit in the state of Montana. He's a 3-star recruit out of Helena Capital. He's a track star. He's a 6'1" wide receiver that's blazing fast. He was the most explosive offensive weapon on Helena Capital state championship team 2 years ago, but then he only played in 2 games a year ago. So he still has a lot to prove, but the measurables are certainly there. And that's sort of a swing recruit. Certainly his family has leaned Grizz, but Almquist is getting recruited not just by Montana State, but also Oregon State. Got some interest in Boise State. It's a good win for Montana. Cats, though, are clawing and fighting, certainly, and they got 3 what I think are really good recruits and a little bit of different style, right? So for those keeping track, Casperg's a quarterback who's being recruited as an athlete for the Grizz. Biggest question is, I guess the 2 biggest questions are, can he play quarterback at the Division I level? I think he can. And will the Grizz recruit him primarily as a quarterback, sort of as a quarterback, but also under the auspice that he's going to be an athlete. And can the Cats combat that by telling him he could be a quarterback and a quarterback exclusively? And then how much does he want that? He sat in studio with us 2 weeks ago. You can find that interview on the Nuanez Now podcast series. And he said, he said all the right things, said do whatever they tell him, just wants to fit in, help the program. But I think if you're a quarterback and you have an opportunity to play quarterback, then that's going to be a big swing. For Quincy King, you got to hold on to him for sure because he's a guy that could have a huge senior year and maybe he goes elsewhere. I don't know. Sam Sermon seems like a guy that's, because of his family legacy and all the Sermons that have played for the Grizz, that seems like a pretty good one. I don't know if Montana State was recruiting him very hard, so I think, or even at all. It's like that's a pretty solidified one. The Cats were recruiting Cooper Pelk and Dylan Almquist, so the Cats are going to keep recruiting these guys, so you got to hold on to those guys till the finish. And you never know what happens with Almquist specifically because he could blow up and maybe be even bigger than the Cats or the Grizz, just depending on how far his stock could rise. The Montana State, though, the last week, they've gotten 3 huge recruits. And when I say huge, I mean both in prowess and in actual physical makeup. The first one was Dax Yeager. He's a 6'5", 235-pound tight end out of Shoto. He's huge. In his recruiting graphic, they said he was a tight end. I think this kid looks more like a future offensive tackle or defensive lineman to me. But either way, he's a good basketball player, moves his feet well, and again, he's already 6'5", 235 pounds. So he's got height, he's got long levers. Biggest transition will be, can he get from Class B to the Division I level? But as Montana State has proven, they are exceptionally good at developing those type of guys. His brother, I'm unsure if Dax had a Grizz offer, so I don't even know if that's necessarily a recruiting win. But Rush Yeager is also a Shoto High School senior to be. He has a Grizz offer. He has not committed yet. I'm assuming they're twins, but one of them weighs 235 and the other one weighs 185. So I don't know how that works. Most of the time, identical twins are pretty similar in body makeup. Maybe they're fraternal twins. Maybe they aren't twins. They're just in the same grade. They're both seniors at Shoto High School, though. They're certainly brothers. So how much does Dax Yeager's recruitment, or commitment, I should say, influence Rush Yeager's recruitment? I don't know. Again, I don't know if Dax had a Grizz offer. I do know Rush has a Grizz offer, and I know he just got a Cat offer, but he had a Grizz offer first. So that's interesting. One side recruiting one side of the Twins, the other side recruiting the other side of the Twins. Usually those guys are package deals. I think Yeager's a good recruit with good upside. But I don't necessarily know if I'm going to call that like a landslide win. He's sort of like a tier 3 guy to me coming out of state. Like a guy that could be like a partial to maybe full ride type scholarship guy, but not necessarily like a blue chipper or one of your top 3 or 4 guys that are going to get FBS interest. There are a couple of those guys, including Almquist. We'll get to those guys here in just a minute. Best recruit the Cats have landed so far came on Sunday. Cade Lebrand. He's from Laurel High School. He's 6'4", 250. He is the best offensive line recruit in the state. Everything that I've read and seen of him, he's very technically developed already. He's tough. He's got a lot of heart. So basically, you just got to let him develop physically, put that weight on him. But he's been an all-state guy on both sides of the ball for the last couple of years. And, the rich just get richer there when you're the Cats. They've been able to sort of sew up the top Montana offensive line talent for a really long time now. And I think this kid's the next one of those. And then Leighton Erickson also committed on Sunday. He's from Saco. He plays high school football in Malta. He's a 6'4", 210-pound tight end. Does that sound familiar? Class B kid who's 6'4", 210, going to play tight end for the Cats. Seen this one quite a few times, whether it's Class A, Class B, Class C. They've had a really impressive run of tight ends. They've also had the whole Bozeman triumphant, right? They had Rocky Lanchoni was one of the breakout players of last year out of Bozeman High. The Schlepp kid, Rylan Schlepp, is one of the top tight ends on the team right now as well. He's from Bozeman Gallatin. Trayton Pickering was a kid from Sunburst, Montana. They had the Alaskan Assassin, Derek Snell, who, he's not from Montana, but he's from tiny town. So they've been really good at getting the 6'4", 210-pound kids that grew up in the rural places and then slapping about 30 pounds on them and having a whole bunch of 6'4", 240-pound tight ends. It's been a pretty good formula for Montana State. We'll see if Erickson can be the next one. Nuanez Now ESPN Radio. It's a Prep Extra. It's probably presented by Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform. Want the biggest checks for your high school sports organization? Visit verticalraise406.com. I mentioned some of the top tier, like transcendent type prospects. Transcendent's the wrong word because transcendent means like historic, right? Like Matt Ludwig was a transcendent prospect last year out of Montana. These guys got 60-something offers. He's going on recruiting visits to Michigan and Texas Tech and Oregon. There's nobody like that in state. But there is a couple like blue chip type guys that are going to get FBS offers. Drew Holmquist already has one from Oregon State. So we'll see if the Beavers keep on going for him, even though he's verbally committed to Montana. The other one, who I think is big time, is Steele Harris. He's a 6'3", 190-pound receiver slash. His older brother, Reed Harris, was a guy that went to Boston College and now is going to Arizona State. So they got good athletic pedigree. Harris already has offers from Wisconsin, Arizona State, Utah, Iowa State, Michigan State, Montana State. Also has a bunch of interest from Boston College and Washington State. He's going to keep on getting a lot of the recognition. And given the fact that his brother already went out of state and given the fact that he's a true Big 10, Big 12 recruit. I just think that Harris is going to be a guy that goes big time. But then you look at that next tier, I'd have Pilk and King and Kasberg all in that next tier. Lee Brand, the Laurel offensive lineman that the Cats just got, he's in that same next tier. These are the guys that are like absolutely full rides that both the schools are going to offer, that both of them would love to have, that both schools are going to recruit, regardless of what their parents did or what their lineage is or what the family roots on, whatever. So Pilk's in that group, King's in that group, Lee Brand's in that group. So that's 2-1 in favor of the Grizz right now in terms of the verbals. But I think Kenna Richmond is certainly in that group. He's from Three Forks. He's their quarterback. But I think he can play all over the place. I mean, he's real deal, 6'4", 225. He's got a great body. He's really, really athletic. He's a great basketball player. He's got offers from both sides. His high school coach is Connor Sullivan, who played for the Cats. And obviously Three Forks is 38 miles from Bozeman. So that's a pretty good draw. But I know the Grizz are going after him hard. And Richmond has been posting the graphics from Bobby Kennedy and the letters the Grizz have been writing him. So I think that I think that's a true battle. And I think it's going to be fun to watch to see who gets in on them. Walker Olson is another one of those top-tier guys from Billings West. He's 6'4", 195-pound wide receiver. He ran 11.2 in track last week. I think if you're 6'4", 195, you run under 11.5. If you run an 11.2, your recruiting stock's about to go through the roof. Olson already has offers from the Cats and the Grizz, but he posted a picture from a visit to San Diego State last week. He also has an offer from Utah State. So he might be another one that's on his way, on the way up and on the way out. We'll see. But he's a really, really talented athlete for Billings West High School. Then the final guy that's in that top tier that's going to be a huge battle is Lane Humphrey. He's a 6'2", 210-pound linebacker from Billings West. He currently has offers from the Grizz, the Cats, and Idaho State. He was our vertical raise Class AA Defensive Player of the Year last year. So he's a guy that has a ton of upside. I love his trigger. I love his nose for the football. He's nasty, plays hard. Love his film. He's a little bit limited in terms of the diversity of his game, but in terms of getting downhill, getting after you, sticking his nose in there, firing at the point of attack, he's really, really good. Then there's the next tier, which are the guys that could be borderline full ride guys or guys that are certainly they're going to get recruited pretty hard by the Cats and the Grizz. And then probably they'll, once they're in the boat, figure out who's going where and how much money do we have for you, all that stuff. But Sam Sermon's in that group for sure from Sentinel. I think Casperg's Casperg's like right there between that full ride, full everything group and this group. But I think Casperg's really good. I think if somebody gave him a chance to play quarterback and actually wanted to develop him for a couple years, I think he'd be really, really good. But the next guys in that group include Dax Yeager and Leighton Erickson, the two kids that just committed to the Cats. Erickson from Seiko plays at Malta, and Yeager from Shoto. I also think that Hunter Daniels, who's a really good do-everything player up at Kalispell Glacier, is in that group. I think that Cade Hudma from Glasgow, who's huge, 6'7", 260 pounds. I think he's a guy that's sort of in that group as well, although I haven't seen very many offers for him yet. Gunnar Larson's getting recruited by both sides, plus also has some offers from the academies, Army and Air Force. Larson's a 6'5", 200-pounder from Billings Central. Rush Yeager, we mentioned him earlier, but he's in that same mix as he's in that same tier as his brother, Dax Yeager. And he has offers from both the Cats and the Grizz. Cooper Machad's a kid we've talked about on the show a little bit because of Frenchtown's great prowess. They're the defending Class A champs, and he's one of their top returners. He's a 6'5", 195-pound receiver. He's a great little playmaker. He doesn't have any offers on social media at least yet, but I think he's a guy that's pretty good right there as well. And then the last guy I'd probably throw in that tier is Walker Rudel from Bozewood High. He's a receiver DB type guy. And then you get into the kids that could be like your up-and-comers, like your partial guys or maybe your walk-on guys. I think most of these guys, we got to wait to see some of their senior year, right? We need somebody to emerge and see where we're at. The one kid we've talked about on the show a little bit that I think has great upside is Braden Zickman from Manhattan. I believe his father is Rory Zickman, who played for the Grizz. I know Braden Zickman was in Missoula for Junior Day, so I don't know if that's inside track or not. But he's a guy I'd put right there in that next tier of recruiting. And then there's a whole bunch of other names that I'm going to have my eye on. But these guys need to do well during the camp circuit this summer and also need to do well during their senior years next year as well. That's all to say that the Grizz got 5 guys in the boat right now in terms of commitment. Eli Kasperger and Quincy King from Big Sky, Sam Sermon from Sentinel, Cooper Pilk from Glacier, and Dylan Almquist from Helena Capital. Count them up, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 AA players. Montana State has got 3 guys that are all small school guys. Dax Yeager from Class B Shoto, Cade Lebrand from Class A Laurel, Leighton Erickson from Class B Malta. So, the ultimate question, who is winning? Well, I'd give the edge to the Grizz right now because I think Dylan Almquist is the best guy on the board. Oh, excuse me, Drew Almquist. I'm sorry. Dylan Almquist is his older brother. Thank you for the correction. I believe I said Drew initially, and then I wrote down Dylan on here just out of habit because Dylan was a great player on that state championship team for Helena Capital 2 years ago. And he plays at Montana Tech now. He was a senior, though, so there was multiple Almquists going. A lot of Almquists in the sports world in Montana. If you're unfamiliar, Guy Almquist, the head coach for Helena Capital boys basketball. Denny Almquist, the grandfather. He coached at Big Sky back in the day. He was a history teacher there when I was in high school as well. He was a great player at Idaho. Played for the San Francisco 49ers for a minute in time as well. Regardless, Drew Almquist is the one that is the top recruit. I'm sorry if I said Dylan at timer 3 there. But either way, 5 guys from the AA ranks in the boat for the Grizz. Cats got the 3 small school guys. When you ask me who's winning, I would say Almquist is a legitimate win for the Grizz, so we'll give him a point. I think Cade Lebrand is a legitimate win for the Cats. I think he's the best big guy in the class for the state of Montana. I think Dax Yeager is a guy that could be a project, but I think he's got a lot of upside with his size. I'm also unsure if the Grizz recruited him, so we won't give really any points there. Leighton Erickson, same deal. I don't know if the Grizz were recruiting him very hard, but I think he's got a lot of upside. He's sort of in that third tier of recruits. I give the Grizz a point for Cooper Pelk, even though he's a legacy guy for the Grizz, because I just think that he was getting recruited by the Cats pretty hard, and especially before Bobby Kennedy was there. And I think you got to keep the Kalispell kids in Missoula if you're the Grizz. Sam Sermon, I'm going to not give any points to the Grizz for because I think he's a legacy guy. I think Quincy King was a good win for the Grizz, even though he's a Missoula guy. Let's give the Grizz half a point each for the two Missoula Big Sky guys because I think they're good wins because the Cats were recruiting them and seemed to have the inside track, but I think the Grizz rectified that. So even though it's 5-3, I'd say in terms of like the actual battle, it's more like 3-1, but I would give the Grizz the edge. But you got to get these guys to the finish line. And the other part is the Cats recruited 3 guys that you know what they're going to try to do with them. Lock them in the weight room, lock them with Sean Heron, develop them, then unleash them on the world. So when you get 3 guys with massive upside, it's hard to evaluate them now compared to what they will be. And I think the Grizz guys are a little bit closer to what they will be. Like certainly everybody's going to get better, bigger, faster, stronger. But like if Drew Almquist really goes to the Grizz, which I think he will, he's committed. But I also, when I say will he really, you know, if let's say Boise State actually comes in with like a true full ride offer, or you know, another regional school, Utah, Colorado State, somebody like that. It just makes it a lot harder for you to just say slam dunk going to Missoula. But let's say he goes to the Grizz. I just think he'll play pretty early. So I think that the amount of projection you're having to do in terms of his development is a lot different than a guy like Dax Yeager. Dax Yeager goes to the Cats. He's not playing for several years. But what happens in several years when he walks out of the weight room, he's 285, and he's your new starting right guard or whatever. So still all up in the air, and at the end of the day, as I mentioned, we are more than 8 months away from the first signing period here in the state of Montana. So you got to hold on for dear life. I expect the Grizz to keep recruiting these Cat guys, but I also especially expect the Cats to keep recruiting these Grizz guys. Like, for example, Brent Vigen is going to tell Eli Kasberg he can play quarterback. I'm almost certain of that. And try to get Kasberg to flip. A couple of the other guys, I don't know if they're going to be flip guys. I don't know if you really want to, like, once you know Sam Sermon and Cooper Pelk are committed to the Grizz, I don't know if you put that many resources into trying to flip them because of the legacy thing and all that sort of stuff. But Almquist, I think you do keep going after, right? And then again, you never know what these guys do during their senior years. I think Quincy King and Steele Harris in Great Falls and Drew Almquist at Helena Capital, I think all 3 of those guys are all good enough that if they had a huge senior year, I think they could get even elevated offers outside the state of Montana. We'll keep tracking it. It's certainly fun to track. What questions do you have? What comments do you have? Who do you think's winning the state recruiting battle? Text us, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Let us know what you think. Take a break, come back. Treasure State Stars. Highlighting some of the best individuals from around the state of Montana. That's next. Keep it right here. ESPN MT.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the uniquely designed and well-equipped 2024 Buick Encore GX with models starting at $28,895. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to demorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Encores and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
It's easy to see why Montana is the treasure state. At the University of Montana, we look inside. We see an old truth with fresh eyes, that Montana's greatest treasure is its people. So whatever tomorrow brings, we meet it the only way we know how, with a mind for making. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The football in-state recruiting battle stayed raging the first half of April as the Grizz landed the top prospect in Montana, but the Bobcats swung back with 3 talented players in the trenches. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana received a verbal commitment from Drew Olmquist on April 3rd, marking the 6th commit to new head coach Bobby Kennedy and the 5th from in-state. Olmquist is the highest-rated recruit in Montana. The 3-star receiver from Helena Capital has sub-11-second speed in the 100 meters and chose Montana over offers from Montana State and Oregon State, along with interest from Boise State and Nebraska. Montana State swung back last week, landing commitments from Shoto athlete Dax Yeager, a 6'5", 235-pound tight end and defensive lineman, the same day that Olmquist committed. Then Sunday, Leighton Erickson pledged to MSU. He's a 6'4", 210-pound tight end from Saco who plays his high school ball at Malta. That same day, MSU head coach Brent Vegan also earned a commitment from Cade Lebrand, a 6'4", 250-pound offensive and defensive lineman from Laurel, who's a multiple-time All-State selection and widely considered the top O-line prospect in the state. Olmquist scored 14 touchdowns as a sophomore on Helena Capital's 2024 state championship team, but missed all but 2 games last season. He's believed to be the highest-ranked recruit to commit to UM in 10 years, a reputation fueled by him running at 10.9 seconds in the 100 meters as a sophomore. For more on in-state football recruiting, tune into Nuanez Now every weekday on 102.9 ESPN MT.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio. Man, I have such a love-hate with cold coffee. Just chugged the last end of it. Like, I warmed it up beforehand and it was too hot. Then I let it get cold because I was talking for 32 straight minutes. So I just downed the last cold bit. Effective, not delicious. Welcome back. Nuanez Now. Appreciate you for hanging. Let's dive into a Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Treasure State Star number 1. These are sort of some news briefs and some player movements that I thought were worth highlighting because they're newsworthy, and it's also just a good way to highlight some Montana athletes. But so, number 1 is Braden Gunlock. She was a standout at Big Fork. She helped lead Big Fork to a Class B state championship in 2023 when she was a junior. Then her senior year, Big Fork moved up to Class A, and she led them back to the state championship game where they lost to Billings Central. Gunlock was certainly considered one of the top talents in Montana, and that's why she went to BYU. Transfer from a big time program who's also from Montana. That's a pretty good fit if you're Trish Binford. Treasure State Star number 2, Jason Ferris. He was on this show once upon a time when he was an outstanding linebacker at Montana Western. Ferris was, he's the best defensive player in the Frontier Conference for a couple years running. And then he had a great pro day, and he had a cup of coffee with the Carolina Panthers. Got a minicamp invite. But then that didn't work out for him, so he went back to Dillon. He's actually from Twin Bridges. He's the younger brother, of former Big Sky MVP Peyton Ferris, who played at Montana State. But Jason Ferris is in the news now because he was just named the athletic director for Montana Western. So that's a pretty cool deal. I mean, Harris he's not very old. He's probably early 30s. They just announced this yesterday. So it's just cool that Montana kid gets a chance to lead his alma mater. As I mentioned, he's a two-time Frontier Conference Defensive Player of the Year, two-time team captain, and was a multiple-time All-American at the NAIA level. Treasure State star number 3, Carter Schmidt. He's a former Belgrade wrestler, and he's been wrestling collegiately, and he was at Oklahoma this last year, qualified for the NCAA championships this past season as a redshirt sophomore, but he's transferring to Northern Colorado. Now, this is where sports like wrestling might be a little confusing, because you think Oklahoma to Northern Colorado, that is a drop, that's a drop down if you're in basketball or football. Northern Colorado is really, really good in wrestling. They're not in the Big Sky in wrestling, so that's like the difference here. They've always had a great wrestling program, and Schmidt now gets to be a part of it. So, I mean, I think it's a good fit. I can't proclaim to know a ton about Oklahoma wrestling, but I do know that Northern Colorado is better than Oklahoma at wrestling. As weird as that might sound, I don't think Northern Colorado is probably better at Oklahoma than at anything, but they are at wrestling. So, good job by Schmidt. He was a 3-time finalist and a 2-time state champion during his time at Belgrade. He was one of the first great athletes at Belgrade when they made the transition to Class AA. That's been probably a handful of years now. But he mentioned in the article that I saw about this that he simply just wanted to move closer to home. So, I mean, Greeley's not that close to Belgrade, but it's a lot closer than Norman, Oklahoma, that's for sure. Treasure State star number 4, a couple former Lady Grizz who found themselves new homes. Alex Pirogue walked away from the game, didn't play at all last year. She was you saw her in the stands quite a bit at the Lady Grizz games. But I don't know if she actually ever declared her retirement, but she did declare her intention to enter the transfer portal this last offseason. And as of yesterday, she is transferring to Northern Colorado. She's a 6'3" post. She'll have a year of eligibility remaining. More than anything, she's from there. So I think it's a nice fit for her. Her tweet said she's going home because she played at Highlands Ranch High School, which is north of Denver. So, just sort of in between Denver and Greeley. So she gets to go be closer to home. Drea Wacker, who's a young lady who appeared on this show once this last winter. She's from Millstone. She sort of got thrust into an elevator role with the Lady Grizz this last year. She struggled with her shooting splits, but she did contribute 19 minutes per game. Also, scored about 5 points per contest. She is sort of a parting of ways with the Lady Grizz, but now she's resurfacing in the Big Sky at Weber State. So she's another one that continues to carry the flag for girls basketball around the state of Montana, even if it's not in the state of Montana. How about that? How about the fact that Weber State has a girl from Montana? Eastern Washington, Elise Abe from Laurel, she was at Idaho State. Now she's transferring to Eastern. So now Eastern, when they add Jada Davis, that'll give Eastern Washington 4 girls from the state of Montana. Courtney Grossman from Billings West, Emily McElmurray from Missoula Sentinel. Those two both were on the team last year. You get Jada Davis from the 2-time reigning AA champions, Bozeman Gallatin, and then you add in Elise Abe from Laurel, who's transferred from Idaho State. You got 4 Montanans on the Eastern roster. That's pretty interesting. I have thought for a long time, what happens when schools wise up, especially in football and girls basketball, and start recruiting Montana? Well, Eastern Washington's women seem to be the first ones that have done that. I've always wondered, if you're North Dakota, why would you not, if you're the University of North Dakota in football, why would you not just recruit the absolute heck out of Billings, Montana? Like, I know the Grand Forks and Billings are a long ways away, but Billings is a lot closer to Grand Forks than a lot of places. And there's just good football in Montana. There's good football in Billings. I've always wondered why the Montana or the North Dakota schools wouldn't recruit Montana. I've also always wondered why Eastern Washington. Like, if you're Eastern Washington football, why wouldn't you recruit in Missoula or, even Great Falls or Helena? A lot of times I think that schools think they have no chance because the Cats and the Grizz are just going to overwhelm everything, but why not? I mean, look at all these girls from Montana that are going to Eastern Washington. I mean, Grossman's an all-Big Sky player. That's a great recruit. McElmurray's an up-and-coming player. Like, those girls could help the Lady Grizz, and they're not on the Lady Grizz. They're at Eastern Washington. So that's pretty good recruiting by Jody Gleason. Speaking of former Lady Grizz, I just thought this was a news brief that people might want to know about. We don't have to spend hardly any time on it. Macy Heward, who was a highly regarded recruit to the Lady Grizz, played for the Lady Grizz as a freshman. Then she transferred to Oklahoma State. She played, her playing time fluctuated quite a bit at Oklahoma State. Then she hit the portal again. Now she's going back home. She's headed to the University of Washington. Her father, Brock Heward, a University of Washington alum, a very prominent alumni who has worked in media in and around the program for quite some time. So I think that's another one where she's just going home. I always thought Heward was a really good player. I think if the Lady Grizz could have held on to her, they could have had something special, especially in the Big Sky. But that was not the case. But now she gets a chance to go get a fresh start. And then finally, the Midland Roundtable All-Star rosters are out. We're up against this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, come back, give you some free Tagliari Deli, and we'll also give you some thoughts on the Midland Roundtable All-Star Game rosters. These are the best boys and girls basketball players from the state of Montana. They play in a series with the Wyoming All-Stars, that is. That will resume in June. I think the girls' team is one of the most stacked all-star teams I've ever seen coming out of the state of Montana. And the boys' team's not bad either. We'll go over those rosters on the other side. Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. A great place in western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. More Nuanez Now, next.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
station.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. No question, one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite albums. It's actually hilarious. I listened to so much Bruce Springsteen as a kid. That's my mom's favorite. And if you were to say, like, name your favorite, like your top 25 Bruce Springsteen songs, almost none of them were actually like the hits. Like if I'm playing the Born in the USA album, I'm actually skipping like Dancing in the Dark and Born in the USA. I'm getting on to, like that, like Downbound Train, Darlington County. Give me all that every day of the week. Appreciate you hanging. We're about to wrap hour number 1, but first, let's give you some free stuff and talk about one of the most stacked All-Star teams rosters I've ever seen in the state of Montana. First, Tag Tuesday, every Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. You want free Taglieri, we got it for you. You can use the gift card on the delicious and consistent sandwiches, or you can also use it on all the Italian-style goods, the wine, the olive oil, the pasta sauce. Text us right now, 406-888-1029. Any and all texts will get you entered in to win $25 gift card from Taglieri Deli. Tag Tuesday, every Tuesday here on 102.9 ESPN Radio. So there was a little bit of history that was made last year in the Montana-Wyoming All-Star Game. This is sponsored by the Midland Roundtable. The Wyoming girls actually won for the first time in a really long time. Wyoming's girls won the game in Lockwood, 81-75. That ended Montana's 16-game winning streak. The Montana team, though, then bounced back and won the second part of the series, and they lead 42-14 all time in this series. So they played 2 games, one in Billings/Lockwood, one in Wyoming, in Sheridan. So Montana's owned this series, and again, they had a 16-game winning streak. So that's basically an 8-year-long winning streak. But then Wyoming got one last year. I don't know anything about the Wyoming roster, but they're up against it this year because the girls' team is absolutely stacked. Like this girls' team would like compete in the Frontier Conference, I think. I can't say they compete in the Big Sky Conference, but I don't know, man. They're pretty good. The roster includes Jada Davis from Bozeman-Gallatin. She's going to Eastern Washington. Avery DeCoit of Missoula Big Sky. She's going to Montana. Amaya Jarvis of Havre. She's going to Central Washington. And she's like a borderline Big Sky player. I mean, she had like 20 rebounds in the state championship game. Madison O'Connor from Baker. She's going to Montana State. Nasia O'Connor from Ekalaka. She's going to Rocky Mountain College. Ave Odegaard of Bozeman-Gallatin. She's going to St. Mary's College of California. Mason Quinn of Frenchtown. She's going to Boise State. Cam Ranker of Billings Central is going to Montana. Marissa Snyder of Ennis. She's going to Montana Western. Another one that was maybe a borderline D1 type of player. And Annika Sturgar of Billings Central. She's going to Carroll. So you count that up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Division I players, and then another half dozen. They're all going to be, I think, pretty good right away in the Frontier Conference. Midland Roundtable Representative Mike Nolan said, as you go down the roster and have a look, I know we have strong teams in the past, but this one has some of the more exciting players around the state, girls that have been in the news and have been in the papers. You look at the D1 commits already, I mean, it's very impressive. By the way, if you're wondering, Madison O'Connor, Nasia O'Connor are cousins. So that's a fun little storyline. But you basically got some of the best players from The AA state champions, two from Bozeman Gallatin. The Class A state champions from Havre. The Class B state champions in Baker. Nobody from the Class C state champions, but still a really, really stacked roster. On the boys' side, Lincoln Rogers leads the way. Missoula Sentinel, after leading the Spartans to their first state title in 40 years. He's headed to Minnesota State Moorhead after his all-star obligations. The rest of the roster includes Chase Badbear from Billings Senior, Zakiah Callison Blake of Lockwood. He's headed to Montana Western. Jandre Ellis of East Helena, who's not going anywhere yet. That's actually really surprising to me. If I'm that kid, I'm going to this is my completely unsolicited advice. I've never spoken to him in my life. But if I'm that kid, I'm going to a junior college and seeing what I become. Because he's a freak athlete, and he's a great basketball player. Scored over 1,000 points at East Helena. I think he's got high upside. St. Gilhouse, really solid player. Missoula Hellgate, he's going to Montana Tech. Bram Handren from Scobie, he's going to Rocky Mountain College. Hudson Ludke of Butte, he's also uncommitted anywhere. He's got offers from Montana Tech to play football and or basketball. So I don't know if he stays there in his hometown of Butte or not. Darcy Merchant of Billings Central. Johns Lee Pierre of Leicester Christian. Cash Rice of Billings West. And Lincoln Rogers, again, of Missoula Sentinel. Rogers, of course, the Montana Gatorade Player of the Year. Ludke was the co-outstanding AA Player of the Year along with Rogers. So those guys certainly should lead the way. Wes Keller will coach the girls. He's the head coach of Rocky Mountain girls basketball or women's basketball, I should say. And Steve Keller will coach the boys. Keller missed the series last year because he had the Great Falls Electrics in the regional finals of the Basketball League playoffs. But Keller's done a great job over the years coaching this thing. And the Montana boys, they lead this 69-29. This is the 50th anniversary of the boys series, whereas the girls will celebrate their 30th anniversary next year. The games will be played in Gillette, Wyoming on June 12th. I think I said Sheridan. My mistake. Gillette is where the Wyoming's games will be played. That's on June 12th. And then on Saturday, June 13th, they'll be played at Lockwood High School. Girls will tip off at 5 p.m. and the boys will tip off at 7 p.m. each night. Hour one of the books. Hour two coming at you. Chris Tennis, Jason Brown, plus one of his upstart freshmen, Matt Upton, on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The football in-state recruiting battle stayed raging the first half of April as the Grizz landed the top prospect in Montana, but the Bobcats swung back with 3 talented players in the trenches. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana received a verbal commitment from Drew Olmquist on April 3rd, marking the 6th commit to new head coach Bobby Kennedy and the 5th from in-state. Olmquist is the highest-rated recruit in Montana. The 3-star receiver from Helena Capital has sub-11-second speed in the 100 meters and chose Montana over offers from Montana State and Oregon State, along with interest from Boise State and Nebraska. Montana State swung back last week, landing commitments from Shoto athlete Dax Yeager, a 6'5", 235-pound tight end and defensive lineman, the same day that Olmquist committed. Then Sunday, Leighton Erickson pledged to MSU. He's a 6'4", 210-pound tight end from Saco who plays his high school ball at Malta. That same day, MSU head coach Brent Vigen also earned a commitment from Cade Liebrand, a 6'4", 250-pound offensive and defensive lineman from Laurel, who's a multiple-time All-State selection and widely considered the top O-line prospect in the state. Olmquist scored 14 touchdowns as a sophomore on Helena Capital's 2024 state championship team, but missed all but 2 games last season. He's believed to be the highest-ranked recruit to commit to UM in 10 years, a reputation fueled by him running at 10.9 seconds in the 100 meters as a sophomore. For more on in-state football recruiting, tune into Nuanez Now every weekday on 102.9 ESPN MT.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. Hour 2 coming your way, 102.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Colter Nuanez. Coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcast Company. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for your construction project. Then get them to you within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes in stock. They can get them to you fast. Visit grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Hour number 1. If you missed anything in it, you can find it on the podcast. Did a full breakdown of where we're at with in-state recruiting in football. 8 total commits, 5 for the Grizz, 3 for the Bobcats. That is a lot this time of year. That's why we're talking about it here in mid-April. What does it all mean? Who's winning? And who are some of the other top prospects in the state? We also had our latest Treasure State Stars highlighting some of the Montana-made athletes that are going various places, from Braden Gunlock transferring from BYU to Montana State, to Carter Schmidt transferring from Oklahoma to wrestle at Northern Colorado, to a couple Lady Grizz finding new homes in the Big Sky. And then we also talked about the Midland Roundtable High School Basketball All-Star teams. The girls, plenty stacked as they make their way to take on Wyoming in June. All of it on the podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. Grizz tennis has been cruising along here this last month. A little bit of an up and down start during the non-conference, but they've been rolling in conference play. They're sitting at 5-1 in league play. They have sewed up the 2 seed in the upcoming Big Sky Conference tournament. But first, they got to go to Bozeman and take on Montana State. We caught up with Jason Brown and Matt Upton from the Grizz tennis team. This conversation probably presented by Cash One Pawn. Cash One Pawn, the premier pawn shop in Western Montana. Cash One Pawn has a variety of offerings when it comes to firearms, power tools, jewelry. They can also do day of cash loans. Visit them on Roller Coaster Road or shop online, cash1pawn.com. That's cash1pawn.com. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio, and we're joined in studio now by a couple members of the Grizz tennis team. Jason Brown, the head coach, and Matt Upton, a standout freshman for the Grizz. Thanks for coming down, guys. How you doing?
Oh, nice to see you. Yeah, happy to be here.
Well, first of all, Jason is a big reader, as am I, and he brought me some new literature. So this will be something that we'll be talking about once I dive through this beast. What an effort here by Seth Davis, the almost 600 pages on The Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden. If you're not watching on TV, this is Wooden, A Coach's Life, a relatively new Seth Davis book. I'm assuming you read this.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Did you love it?
I did. I mean, yeah, if you can't learn from the greatest, who are we going to learn from?
Well, that's interesting, though, because I think from a coach's perspective, you could probably read a lot of books from a lot of different coaches, and maybe they don't fit like your personality or whatever, right? Probably a hard guy, but a worthy guy to emulate, though, John Wooden.
Absolutely. I think you can take a lot of stuff from all the greats. I mean, hopefully for my wife's sake, I'm glad my personality is a lot different than Nick Saban. I've read every single thing about the guy.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot to be attention to detail. There's some overlap with all great coaches, what they share and their ideas and standards and, you know, different ways of going about it.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Yeah, Wooden does a nice job of the hows and whys and honestly, too, navigating, you know, tough time in America as well.
Right, totally.
Racial divide and whatnot. So, yeah, it's very good read, I think.
Because, like, Season on the Brink with Bobby Knight, like, do you really want to be like Bobby Knight at the end of that book? I mean, you probably want to be a coach like him, but I don't know if you want to talk like him. That's the funniest part of that book, the afterword, when John Feinstein says, I ran this book by Coach Knight, and he said, well, there's just no way I swear that much. And John Feinstein's like, no, I recorded you the whole time, Coach. Like, that's what this book was. It's recorded. I promise you. And Bobby's like, well, we can't run it like that. And he says, well, no, we have to, because that's what the book is. So pretty funny.
So good. That was a great book as well.
Great book. One of the great sports books ever written. Matt, tell us about sort of your journey. You came to Montana. You've been here for a little less than a year now. So, I mean, how's it been going? What do you think of Missoula so far?
Yeah, I've been loving it. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better place to be. I think the town, I love, great size and super safe. People are super nice. And then within the university, I don't think we could have a better support system with our coaches, but also all the staff in the athletic department. Yeah, it's been treating me well.
Tell me about the town you came from. You're from England.
Yeah, I'm from a small place in the southwest of England called Cornwall. Quite out of the way on the coast, and it's super nice for about 2 weeks a year when the weather's okay. But other than that, it can be pretty depressing.
So the adjusting to Missoula is not that tough for you then, because you're already from a small town. Is your town smaller or bigger than Missoula?
I'd say smaller for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite an easy adjustment.
Well, you got lucky because this is the first non-gray winter in the history of the Missoula Valley. Usually it's very gray like where you're from. It was actually sunny all the time.
Yeah, I've heard
this winter.
The winter took it easy on me, I heard.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, tell us about your path to Montana, because you spent some time in France before this, right?
Yeah, so I've been playing tennis since I was 4 or 5, and have kind of gradually took it more seriously. And at 14, I'd say it's when I really decided to focus on tennis. And I moved away from home at 16 to a tennis academy in the south of France, which was a great experience. Nice weather, nice place. And yeah, I got a lot out of my time there. And yeah, I've been traveling, playing tournaments for the last couple of years. And now I've landed in Missoula.
Well, very cool. And if you haven't been following along, Grizz Tennis has been rolling lately, and a big match coming up, rivalry match against Montana State in Bozeman, which is the season finale for the regular season, that is, coming up on Saturday. So, Coach, just tell us, take us through this season. I know you guys have had a lot of success in recent years, so how's it gone? I know you said maybe not off to the best start, but you've been gaining a lot of momentum down the stretch here.
Yeah, I think that, we had a tougher schedule than normal, and we had the past couple of years.
Is that by design?
It was. The guys wanted a little more of a challenge. Thought it would creep us into the We were in the national rankings last year. I thought we just needed one of these good early wins against regional powerhouse. Well, we should have had one to start our season against Utah State. Lost a nail biter. Turns out they've swept the Mountain West and are up to the 50s in the rankings. Right. So, it ended up being not as nearly as bad a loss as it felt at the beginning of the season. Right. They've turned out to be a really, really solid team. And, kind of haven't had the big win we expected along the way. The Denver, Boise State kind of teams that occasionally we'll get a look at kind of got the best of us with some injuries. And just honestly, every year's a new year. And we have the talent. Kind of had to find the right doubles combinations and everything. But I've been rolling lately, undefeated on the road in the Big Sky, and I've had, some nice home wins in a row now, and things are good. We're in good shape heading into the Brawl week.
Well, nice home win last week. Took care of business in short order against Sacramento State, 7-0 for the Grizz. So that definitely gives them some momentum going into the Brawl. When it comes to the non-conference scheduling, this is something that's been so fascinating to talk to the basketball coaches specifically about because of all the challenges. Like women's basketball, some teams will still come play it, right? Like Washington came to Missoula and played the Lady Grizz 2 years ago. Or this year they got BYU to come to town. You guys got Utah State. So what's it like to schedule? Like is it as a challenging? Or is your reputation preceding itself when you're trying to get some of the better teams in the region to come up here and play in the non-conference?
It's actually very, very similar to basketball. We're a little too dangerous.
Sure,
they're happy to play us. Not to Missoula, and sometimes they'll it's an expensive place to travel to, and we can definitely knock anyone off here at home. Our home record's ridiculously good, and so it is a challenge. I usually take the coaches out to dinner and treat them really well and make sure they want to come back, and they usually love it here. So it sells itself once they get here. Utah State will probably be back because they got a victory up here. But we do try to schedule some home and aways with some of the regional powers, and as I've been doing this longer too, honestly, I like to schedule the better teams with coaches and players we get along with, and guys enjoy the battle of it versus, sometimes tennis is a funny sport, calling your own line. Sometimes there's a lot of animosity, and some teams that have better reputations and worse reputations, and we try to schedule the ones where the tennis decides it, nothing else.
Is it on the coach? Is it on the head coach like it is in hoops, or is there administrative support? Like how does the actual logistics of getting the schedule ironed out work for you guys?
Oh, so no, it's just we grind it out as coaches, no admin involved.
So a lot of like men's basketball.
Yeah, just we make some calls. Hey, we can't come to you in 27. We'll come to you in 28 and 29 if you can come this year. A lot of back and forth and making it work, and then just with the way it works, we'll schedule Utah State next year when we play Weber. Mm-hmm. We'll play team around wherever we're going. Right. We're going to play Grand Canyon when we play NAU. Just a lot of that. So a lot of trying to double and triple up on matches on the road. And I like it. I like the challenge of it. And occasionally, every year we go to Gonzaga for our final fall tournament. And this year the reward for winning the Big Sky was we stayed in La Jolla and went to play the San Diego tournament. And guys, you enjoy that, Matthew?
That was a good experience.
That's awesome. My wife was actually just in San Diego. Just got back. She went and saw La Jolla specifically, too. So Grizz Tennis in studio with us here on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. So, Matt, tell me about that part, just traveling around, because obviously you probably kind of knew what you were getting into coming to Montana, but what do you think of just going to places like California and Idaho and all over the place?
Yeah, actually, I really enjoy the traveling. I've been doing it for quite a while, and I enjoy getting to see new places, new schools. I don't find it too tricky. It can be tiring when you're on the road for many weeks in a row, but I find the positives definitely outweigh the negatives.
Well, great way to just sort of see the country, right?
Yeah.
Is there a favorite place that you've been to so far?
San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego's hard to beat.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, as a person who's been to a lot of the American cities, San Diego's up there. It's one of the best.
Yeah, that was an incredible trip.
Yeah. What's your favorite American city?
Well, for a long time, it was a long time in the early 2000s. I really was a fan of sort of the West Coast, San Francisco, Portland.
Yeah.
Probably not so much. I mean,
San Diego's hard to beat.
San Diego's tough to beat, and our flight got canceled, and so we ended up staying downtown San Diego an extra night.
Nice.
No one complained too much about that.
You guys.
We were ready to go home. We moved from the beach to the city, and it was okay for these guys too. Sometimes we forget, or at least I forget that the Queen Bed at the Staybridge Suites is probably better than Rome or Miller Hall for sure. So they're like, no problem, stayed an extra night over somewhere.
Well, Matt, imagine being like 6'10" and having to sleep in one of those Miller Hall beds. One of my good buddies in college was in Miller. He's 6'7", just hanging off the end. He played Grizz basketball. You at least probably kind of fit in the bed, right?
Yeah, I've definitely got off easy with that.
Totally.
Who was your
Jack McGillis played for the Grizz in the early 2000s. So, those guys were not made for the dorms, no question. So you mentioned the fact that the team, you've seen it come together, build some momentum, gain some momentum now as you get down the stretch run. What's the process like to come together as a team, and what has made this one start to gel, sort of at the right time?
I mean, it's so organic. Sometimes you don't know. Honestly, almost all college athletics too, winning solves a lot of problems.
No question.
All of a sudden, coach might know what he's talking about. The drills are okay. Losing makes you question everything from the top down and the bottom up both. So, it's just, I think the key to any mid-major college sport is belief in the system that we're operating under, and that the strength coach is doing a good job, that our physios are doing a good job, that the coaches are coming up with the right lineups and the right doubles pairings and the right practice plans and honestly even the right scheduling.
Sure.
That we get a week off at the right time and we're not playing too many hard teams. So yeah, it feels like again, get a bunch of home wins in a row and then you're like, yeah, schedule's just about right. So
how has your philosophy evolved when it comes to all that stuff, like the science that goes into this, the load management, the training, all that sort of stuff?
Try to make it I think it's where honesty really comes into play, trying to make it as collaborative as possible.
Sure.
So we'll give a shout out to Matt. Probably did more individual extra sessions than anyone I've ever had. And we had to dial back a little bit. Just started seeing a little wear and tear, having some low back issues.
Sure.
We've had to pull back, and I know that he wants to play twice a day every day, and so I have to be the one to occasionally say no. But yeah, we managed it well, and I think some of that is finding that each person has a different, especially in an individual sport played in a team format, has a different load capacity, mentally and physically.
Sure.
So yeah, just continuing to sort of, as always, hoping in 5 years that I think what we're doing now was really not that great. Like trying to refine it and make it better each year.
Yeah.
So.
Where does that drive come from, Matt? Like, what is it? Just the love of the game, or where wanting to play twice a day? Where does that come from?
I just really enjoy tennis. Also, I like the sense of fulfillment I get from it. Having something to work towards. But I think a big part of it is just I've found something I love. Yeah.
Has it always been like that? You said you started playing when you were 4 or 5. Were you in love with it right away?
It's definitely increased. I always really enjoyed it. But when I was really young, I think I probably enjoyed soccer more.
Interesting.
We call it football, but then it's definitely, I kind of lost a bit of love for that, and the passion for tennis kept growing. Yeah, I've never had a problem with having to be dragged to the courts or something.
Right. Do you think your soccer background helps you in tennis?
Maybe a little bit, in the sense of just playing numerous sports.
Sure.
Had a busy schedule. But yeah, it was a long time ago, so.
Sure. Yeah. I just wonder, sometimes like the fundamentals that you gain when you're a young person, footwork and stuff like that.
I think the movement piece is essential. I think I think all the guys, all of our international kids, like you watch them stand in a circle and pass the soccer ball around. It's a joke. Like I stay 3 courts away because it's so embarrassing if I drive it. But I think it's spatial awareness.
Sure.
Yeah, I think multiple sports. What's the stat on guys in the NFL? They all were 3-sport.
Like 80% of them, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
no one's special. The specialization piece is,
Well, that's always been the Hakeem Olajuwon theory, right? You go back to the great Houston Rockets center. He grew up in Nigeria and he played soccer all the way until he was 16, and he's got the greatest footwork of any big man ever. And a lot of the theory is that it was a testament to his soccer background. He's so light on his feet.
It makes great sense.
Yeah, and I mean, there's
and then he just happened to grow to 7 feet.
And then all of a sudden he became 7 feet and he can't really play soccer anymore. Jason Brown, Matt Upton joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Matt, what's the weirdest part about living in America?
Great question.
Probably just the change in culture. The accents.
What do you notice? Like, do I sound funny to you?
Now, no. I've gotten used to it, but it was definitely like a bit of a change. And then also just people here are a lot more like friendly.
Interesting.
So you get into a lot more conversations than in the UK. Yeah.
That's distinctly a Montana thing, I think, too, right? Not just an American thing, right?
More than most. I warn all the international kids, too. Like, people are going to ask you, and it's not going to be like if you're from Sweden, where, number one, they're probably not going to ask you, but they actually are interested. Oh,
definitely.
Where are you really from? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Totally. say some funny word. But, his parents came and visited this summer just in the heart of beautiful August, western Montana, and they made a lot of fun of me for saying the word awesome too many times. Like, such an American thing.
That's great. Well, how about the food? How's that adjustment been?
My English friends probably wouldn't like to hear this, but I actually prefer it here.
Okay, yeah.
I think the food around here is super good.
Yeah, you guys are lucky on campus now, too.
Yeah.
The campus dining is, like, top notch.
Yeah. I miss the odd English dish, but as a whole, it's probably not the most appetizing food culture.
Yeah, sure.
Especially to Americans.
Like you wake up with a plate of beans. I mean, come on.
How about the competition level, though? I mean, you've played at a very high level all over Europe. So how does the Big Sky compare? How does collegiate tennis compare to what you're doing the last couple of years?
It's definitely different. It takes a bit of adjusting to playing older players. A lot of the guys I'm playing, they're like 20, 21 and fully grown men, whereas the last couple of years in the juniors, it wasn't really like that. So yeah, it's been a tough adjustment, but I think I've adapted well, and yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed the one thing when we talked about this was playing a match next to a match or two matches that matter. Because you're so used to the only match you have to focus on is your own.
Your own match.
Actually concerned about how Tom Bittner's doing next to you.
Right.
Like actively concerned, and finding that focus is tricky sometimes. A lot of momentum when all your teammates start winning or start losing occasionally.
Right.
I'd say we've spoke a lot about the idea that being a freshman, you're going to lose some matches you'll never lose again. Just getting used to that you might be playing a 26-year-old Serbian guy who's got a full beard and 3 kids, and with the state of college athletics, once in a while you run into some grown-ass men, and so it's different, but Matt's adjusted super well and loves to compete, so it makes my life really easy.
Well, tell us more about the rest of the team. You mentioned Thomas Bittner. I mean, he's in the mix for one of the great athletes in the state of Montana, period, right now. He's been unbelievable the last couple of years for Grizz tennis, and having another great year here. It's officially his senior year, right?
He's done, after this. Sadly, he's a little bit of the what-if story as well. He's spent the last 2 summers out. 2 summers ago with a hip surgery. This summer he had some complications around his hip area again and didn't get to play. Had probably the biggest Grizzly tennis win ever this fall, beating a kid from TCU at the Conference Masters, and followed it up with beating a kid who was the Big East reigning MVP. And,
unbelievable.
Yeah, did some cool things for a kid who had a losing record. Again, speaking to a freshman, had a losing record as a freshman here,
right?
And then basically has cruised through the last 3 years. Really, really putting himself in contention to end up in our Athletic Hall of Fame. So, yeah, really cool. And
how's that happened? Like, what have you thought has gone into his development and ascension to be this high level of a player?
he's unfortunately he had a test and then practice right now, or he'd be here with us as well. But he after his freshman year, he asked Ethan Vaughn and I, the assistant coach and former Grizz great, what he needed to do for the summer. And then he came back and he said, yeah, I worked on it like constantly. And he'd fixed all the holes, so to speak. And came back and, went like 17-2 as a sophomore. I was like, So attention to detail. I mean, he's going to graduate with a 4-point. Just this outstanding, organized, efficient German. So, still the only kid I've ever seen fold his dirty clothes.
That's amazing. Matt, watching a guy like that work, how much does that sort of influence you, having a teammate like that that's had so much success?
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to do the right things when the people around you are also doing the right things. I think he does a really good job at leading by example. I mean, he balances the school with the tennis super well, and nothing falls through the cracks with Tom. Literally nothing.
Yeah, one of my favorite Tom Bittner stories is we were at the Air Force Academy and playing a fall tournament. They tour you through the barracks, and the barracks obviously you can bounce the quarter off the bed.
Sure, right.
Perfect. And he goes, "Oh, looks just like my room." He's had a great year. Duncan McCall also has had a great year, who you had in last year.
Totally.
Yeah, Big Sky Freshman of the Year. Been a dominant force and as gritty and scrappy of a guy as you could ever meet. He'll find a way. He'll use the handle of the racket. He does not care. Doesn't care how it looks. He will find a way. He was playing incredibly poorly in a match, and he's like, "This is good for me. I'm going to learn from this." And I was like, "Oh, be still my heart as a coach." Like, you're actually like enjoying the adversity. Yes. It's like someone missing every 3-pointer. Like, I'm going to find it. I'm going to find my range. Yeah. Like, I'm not backing off of this. And so, some great examples around for Matt to dig into, and pretty blessed with some of the guys we've got here in Missoula.
Well, after the great season last year, how much do you think that's carried over into this year?
I think it was tricky. I think there was a little bit of
pressure, right?
Yeah, but there was a little bit of. I think there was a little bit of guys thinking that it was going to be a lot easier than it was.
No question.
And early, and
it's the hardest thing in sports, right? Is repeating as a champion.
Absolutely, and honestly, for me, this was the first time I'd won it as a head coach, won it as an assistant. And it'd been a minute. Unfortunately, we'd lost in the finals a few years, but I think there was a spot for me too that I thought we have them. I still do. I still think we have the best team in the Big Sky. We had one heartbreaking loss to NAU, which we were in a great position to win. Mm-hmm. If they would have lost it, they'd say the same thing. It was about a 3-point separator. Yeah. And we don't have to feel too bad about that. I had a couple guys who probably had a little bit of an off day, including Matt. Probably didn't have his best day on the court, and that's okay, and it's part of the learning experience. And it'll give us sort of that same sort of drive that we had last year. Like they put an absolute shellacking on us in Flagstaff last year, and and then we kind of took it to them in the conference final. And maybe it's better to be in this position, because beating a team twice isn't that easy either.
No doubt.
So, I think we're in a great spot.
Jason Brown, Matt Upton here in studio with us. All right, we got to talk about the brawl then. Montana State hosts Montana on Saturday, regular season finale for both teams. So what do you think of the matchup with Montana State?
Well, we know that they'll turn out.
No doubt.
The Grizz haters will be there in full force, and we're expecting it. They're a tricky team.
It's a tricky place to play too.
Incredibly difficult place to play. They win on the road, or they never win on the road. Like basically, I think they've won one match on the road in the last 2 years.
Right.
And they win at home a lot.
Yep.
Good on them for making it a tough environment. For me, we're a favorite in every position, doubles every single spot. But I'm sure they'll find a way to equalize it, and we know what we're getting into. And you can throw all the stats and all the favorites and all the things out the window when it becomes a brawl. I don't care what sport.
Sure.
We know that. So, I'm not making the same mistake I did my first year. He's not with us anymore, but I had Bobby Houck come and hype the boys up the first year we ever played the brawl, and it had unfortunately the reverse effect. Scared a couple of the Scandinavian guys to death. Like, oh my God. But no, these guys want to win, so it's nothing we have to get up for or anything. The only little tricky piece is it's a bit of a dead rubber for us. It doesn't change anything for us,
sure,
conference wise. We're we're going in as the 2 seed.
It's going to be the 2 either way, right?
Win or lose.
Yeah. And it all comes down to the tournament anyways, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, we're going to go out there and give it our all like we always would, but it's, there's been times that this match has really meant a seeding thing, or maybe they don't get in they're in as well, so I think they're going to be somewhere near the bottom of the seeding, but they'll be in no matter what as well. So yeah, it adds an interesting wrinkle to it. But
Matt, have you had any rivalry experiences yet? Like, did you go to the football game or the basketball games or anything like that?
Yeah, I went to the football game, experienced that. It was crazy. Super kind of new environment. Just how big the sports world is in America.
Right.
But I mean, it was super cool to actually see it in person. Yeah.
I mean, that's probably one thing that must stand out to you, right? Is the ferocity for sport.
Yeah.
Especially in Montana too, right? Because like people around here, you've probably noticed, are very much into sports and very much into Grizz and Bobcat sports.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it, and I think it's really cool to get the community involved in it, and yeah, it's super good.
Do you know much about your matchup?
I know they've had a couple injuries, so that kind of can depend on a little on that. But I've got a little bit of an idea, and yeah, we've seen a few of them in the fall and at other events. So yeah.
How do you prepare your team to play at for those that haven't been to Montana State, they play in it's the tennis bubble, but the court, I mean, the ball like flies there, right? I mean,
it's higher altitude than here.
Higher altitude, it's fast. The air is a little weird because like it's kind of hard to breathe in there, even when you're just standing there watching.
It's a little dark,
right?
And the courts, they never resurface the courts, so they're super slick,
right? And so I mean, there's just a lot of things that if that's your home court, I think it's a huge advantage for it. If it's not, you got to get kind of used to it. How do you get your team ready for that?
Yeah, we've got a few tricks. The team practice looks a little different when we're preparing for altitude or for sea level, for that matter.
Sure.
So we'll do a few slightly different things, and then we'll go in there and get a couple practices in prior to playing them. I mean, a little bit like finding your range inside a gym shooting. All these places are a little different. I mean, we can do the Hoosiers measure how high the hoop is and how long the baseline is. It's all the same. The net's the same height, but it is different. And there's something nice about being at home and just being comfortable. And and they'll have that advantage, and that's kind of the cool thing to get to overcome. Nothing more fun than winning in Bozeman when it happens. I mean, honestly, in all sports for us. So. Yeah, we'll go give it our all to make sure that happens. I think we need to get another notch in the the Grizz need another. We can't have a solo notch for this season.
Indeed, no doubt. Well, last thing then, how much can a rivalry win then help boost you? I know you're going to be the 2 seed either way, but probably want to take some momentum into the conference tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just sort of making a statement. I think we did against Sacramento State. I think we did it against Idaho State in many ways too, and. Yeah, you make a statement for the conference that I know there's been times when we've been on the outside looking in, and maybe a really top NAU team, a really top Idaho team, they might have a point or two advantage on you just by reputation alone. Mm-hmm. And we're sort of in that position to do that. So go over to Bozeman, put a good beating on these guys, and then all of a sudden our first matchup down in Phoenix might be a lot easier because guys are like, wow, I don't think we can really win. You can create some doubt. You can create some doubt from a few states away occasionally. So that's what we'll try to do, and keep everybody healthy and just feeling good about their game.
Saturday in Bozeman, the regular season finale for both Montana and Montana State, and the Big Sky Championships begin on April 23rd down in Phoenix, Arizona. Jason Brown from the Grizz tennis team, as well as Matt Upton, a standout freshman for the Grizz, joining us here on ESPN Radio. Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Coulter, appreciate it. Always fun.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
At Shields, we're anglers.
endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Is now on ESPN Radio.
Brianna Williams headed to the Cats. No, not those Cats. I should have let the joke linger for longer. Brianna Williams, former two-time Montana Gatorade Player of the Year, building Skyview product, one of the great basketball players I have ever seen in my 20 years covering sports in this state. She'd been at Maryland the last 2 years. She's now headed to Arizona to play for the Wildcats. So I think there was some people around the state of Montana wondering if the former top 50 national recruit would make her way back to the Treasure State. Not so fast. Certainly a lot closer to home than where she was in Maryland. But the dreams of her being a Lady Grizz or a Montana State women's basketball player, not happening. Williams staying in the Power Four. Goes from the ACC to the Big 12 now for Arizona. Yeah, Big 12. Hard to keep track of all this stuff sometimes. And that's it's a good get for Arizona. And certainly a bummer she's not coming back to the state of Montana, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't really expect that to ever be the case. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Time for our Montana State Minute. It's probably presented by the Bobcat Collective. Bobcat Collective helping usher Montana State into the new era of college athletics. Collective, learn more about being a member of the Bobcat Collective to contribute to the NIL efforts at Montana State. Visit bobcatcollective.com. Brett Vegan caught up for the media for the first time in several weeks. His team has 2 weeks of spring ball left. Here's the update.
Your spring evaluation continues to move along. Generally speaking, like the progress of a lot of individuals. I think schematically, offense versus defense, it's not so much about that this time of year. I know there's some scheme things that we're working through, but ultimately it's about the individuals. And I want to talk about a couple groups today. I think running back wise, I feel really good about the performance that Colston and Jared had on Friday night. Limited opportunities, but really they both did well, and I think what they're going to be able to bring to the table is very important for this team. And then I think Cale Breslin, as a freshman, we didn't get a chance to see a whole lot last fall. Got hurt pretty early. And, he's a guy that provides a little bit different gear, different size than anyone else in that room. So, I think his performance the other night was one. He said, okay, he's positioning himself to be, in the mix. And that's obviously not to say Adam's not the leader of the pack. So I feel good about how that group's coming around. And then flip it over to defense. Defensive line-wise, that group needs to have individuals emerge. I think Seth Brock last year flashed as a pass rusher. Had a really good year on special teams, but like how he's starting to put it all together, and that's been a similar progression of the guys that have preceded him. Redshirt, wreak havoc on the special team or on the scout team, play special teams in year two, maybe get a pass rush or two, and then come into their own. So like him, and then Josiah Swega, from an interior perspective, I know I've talked about him before, but it was good to see him be as disruptive as he was on Friday night. I think Zach Black is on the flip side. He's a guy that's going into his 6th year, but Zach has done some really good things. But what we need out of him is now to become, a more consistent, regular presence, and I think Zach's had a good spring to this point. So, a couple positions that we had key losses. We lose Julius. How are we going to replace that on the defensive line? We lose the 4 starters. How is that going to continue to come together? So, what we saw out of those 2 groups in particular on Friday night.
One of those position groups is outside corner. How are you liking your position group?
Yeah, I think that's very much a work in progress. The guy that's probably emerged the most has been Tim Thomas, and Tim's a guy that we probably would have had slated as a safety. And he might still be a safety at some point, but Tim's done a really good job. We knew there had to be some movement from that safety room, probably out to the corner spot. I know we've also had Taki take some reps at corner. I think that's promising as well. Marcus Coleman, as a redshirt freshman here, missed most of the fall, and he's been a guy that's had a real solid spring here too. Johnny Edwards is still he's a young guy who is playing for the first time. Really, he had a brief amount of practice at Arizona last fall. Learning our system, learning consistency. He's learning what consistency means, I guess, at that position. So he is showing up. It's just gonna be a matter of time for him to continue to emerge. So I think it is definitely shaping up. We throw those 4 names in with Takari. I think we are making the progress necessary.
Seems like all those guys in the safety room have kind of played multiple positions, whether it's free and strong or some combination. How important has that been for you guys to have that flexibility?
Well, I think maybe much like the offensive line, where we want to get our best 5 out there. Back there, we want to get our best 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, and then if it's 6 and you can just back everybody up and they're all playing the same positions, that's great, I suppose. But if it's 4 or 5, kind of you seize your best, there has to be a little bit of movement that occurs within a game. And then, over the course of a season, what's your next answer if someone does go down? It doesn't necessarily need to be the next guy on the depth chart. It might be the next best guy at the other position. So creating flexibility now entirely in the secondary, I think is a little bit different approach this year, with maybe some guys having some inside-out combination as far as their dual positions. But it's really important, and I think it's allowed us to, I'd say, get through a lot of things last year. Without that position flexibility last year in the back end, I don't think we would have had the success we did.
Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Brent Vigen addressed the media today as his team, the stretch run of Spring Ball this week, next week, and then the spring game is April 25th in Bozeman. More from Coach Vigen post-practice on Tuesday.
Have you noticed the offense playing with a wave of confidence with a lot of the same guys coming back in the same system?
Yeah, I think you like to say there's a confident group walking out there every day. I do know that, like on Friday night, from my vantage point as a head coach, I do want to see a back and forth. Though I think our offensive players are going against good defensive players, and I hope at times they're even humbled. So I think we have a group that knows that there's potential for a lot of playmakers. And competing for those opportunities to get the ball is something that will be ongoing. So I'd say offensively, yes, there is a sense of confidence, but there's also this understanding that we're a work in progress. We do have some holes to fill, and our defense hopefully does put them in its place every once in a while.
Have you seen any new leaders emerge over the course of the spring that maybe you weren't expecting?
Oh, not expecting. Because I would go right to Justin and his. I was expecting not Justin, but Justin's in such a different place now as opposed to certainly even fall camp last year. I know he's making a really good effort to become that. You would probably expect on the outside looking in Taco to be this leader, but he's continued to emerge in that role on the offensive side. I think defensively, a guy that hasn't been in that role that I think is really working hard to move himself more and more is Cole Taylor. Cole started the year last year as a guy that was hoping to make his mark, and I think he ultimately did. And there's more guys than that. I think as a group, I think they're still probably finding their way a little bit, but having, I think, upwards towards 40 seniors and juniors on this team next year, there's a chance for leadership to be pretty widespread, and that's, again, guys finding their space, finding the right notes, I guess, as we go through it is still something we're working on. But I think it'd probably be the guys that you might expect from the outside. But some of those guys really need to emerge into those roles. Big shoes to fill. It wasn't a big senior group by any means, but some really strong leaders in that group last year.
How are those QBs behind Justin looking?
Yeah, right now Patrick's been out. Patrick had a lingering injury from the spring or from the fall, but he should be back for the last week. So it's been River and Grant and River, and I think for both of them, it's just trying to become the best version of what they can through this stretch. If Patrick is out there, it might feel like they're competing against him a little bit more, or it might feel like they should compete against each other, but they really got to learn what it means to become the best version of themselves. So my hope is from one scrimmage, meaning last Friday, to this next, it just maybe slows down. You can be in that mode where you feel like you're competing and need to chase all the big plays, and that creates some inconsistency. So I think we've seen some real good flashes out of both of them, and I look forward to spring ball being its entire picture for them and seeing where they're at, because I do think there's promise there for sure. And Patrick getting some reps here last week hopefully gives us a sense for where he's at too.
Just from a coaching staff perspective, how eager is the staff to get to the spring game? Just talking to a couple of guys, they're excited to get out there and throw the pads on. Just from a coach's perspective, how eager are y'all to see where the team's at going into the summer and fall?
Yeah, I think getting to that point where you see spring ball for all it's worth. So we have this scrimmage in between. I think that would be first in everybody's mind to continue to measure where we're at. I think the spring game provides an opportunity, especially for young players that haven't been in a game setting or have just been in a game setting from a minimal perspective. And it's not the same necessarily, but we are keeping score. It's really the only time we keep score. It's the only time there's really time on the clock. So situational football, and just a sense for guys' readiness for that is a little bit more clear in the spring game. I know fans in the stands might not equate to a fall game day, but I hope we have a good crowd that comes out, and that piece and just your ability to go out there when the lights are on is just, that's our best opportunity to replicate that. So I know important that we take care of these other practices, the scrimmage on Saturday, but the spring game is always a big piece to how we look at the complete evaluation.
Update from Montana State from Brett Vegan. Appreciate him for that, and thanks to Montana State Sports Info for sending that along. No, it's now up to 9 ESPN Radio. Take one more break. Come back and keep on hashing out as the portal turns. That's next. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Missoula.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky Country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
No, it's download tonight ESPN Radio. 3 quick ones for you before we get out of here. We mentioned the Midland Roundtable Basketball All-Star Games and the rosters. I mentioned Darcy Merchant, the Billings Central standout, who's one of the Montana representatives. As of that moment, he was undecided where he's going to college. Well, a little news brief from the Billings Gazette. Merchant is going to go to Casper College, which is a junior college in Wyoming. I think it's a good fit. I actually think that Montana kids should go to junior colleges more often because I think you could have some accelerated development and get the chance maybe you were hoping for. Also, from the Grizz basketball perspective, Garrett Dutro, who's a junior college player from California, scored over 1,000 points in the JC ranks. He committed to the Grizz, as did Jalen Brown. Not that Jalen Brown, but a Jalen Brown. He's a 6'2 guard from Cal State Dominguez Hills. He was a Division II All-American last year, so a couple high-scoring guards incoming for the Grizz. NBA playoffs tonight. Play-in games, Miami at Charlotte and Portland at Phoenix. Should be fun to see how that all transpires. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Samuel Akim, Andre Patterson,